Occupy the NEDAC friends. This is William at Occupy the NEDAC. I was going to go out this afternoon and do this as a live broadcast from University of Oklahoma. It's too fucking windy. 22 mile an hour sustained winds, 32 mile an hour gusts here in Norman. There's just too fucking much wind. So there's so much going on this afternoon. I've been looking at Twitter, Women's March in New York City and God knows where, and Extinction Rebellion in France. But I just got a letter this morning on our Banking and Monetary Reform Committee, and I thought we need to hear this. And I hope that I'm going on YouTube Live also. I don't know, I just got a note from YouTube, so fuck, I don't know. Anyway, nothing is going to change, okay? Nothing will change until we reform the way that we create money. Because whoever controls the power to create money controls a nation. And right now, and it's been that way since the beginning of the United States, the bankers control who gets the money. Hamilton and Washington made sure of that in 1887 when they took the power to create money from Congress and delegated it to their friends who became our first bankers. And not only did they become our first bankers, they knew that the Congress was going to make whole all the indebtedness of the colonies, buy it back for 100%. Hi there, James. And so Hamilton's friends knew that that Congress was going to buy back all the debt of the colonies for 100% face value. We're talking about James. I would just say before you join, there's a lot going on this afternoon. Extinction Rebellion in France and London, women's marches in New York. But nothing's going to change until we change who creates our money, because whoever controls the money controls the nation. So today I got a letter from one of the members of the Banking Monetary Reform Committee of the Green Party, which we are the ones that are rewriting and promoting the NEED Act. We're the ones that have knowledge of the NEED Act, and you can join the committee. I'm on it, and I'm not a member of the Green Party, so I'm on it as an observer, and I can still participate. I can I watch all the meetings and make comments on the side in the comment section of the Zoom meeting, and we have Zoom meetings done every Thursday night, and so yeah, you're in Thailand. Okay, good. One of our main economists for the NEED Act, a good friend of the founder of the American Monetary Institute and the author of The Lost Science of Money, lives in Thailand now. He's an economist. He's from Australia, lives in taught in England, and now he and his companion live in Thailand. Hi there, Pete Sullivan. Nice to see you. So we got a little crowd going here. I'm just saying, there's a lot of activity going on this afternoon about Extinction Rebellion and women's rights and things, but nothing is going to change until we change who creates money, because whoever creates money controls the nation. And so I'm on the Banking and Monetary Reform Committee of the Green. It was sent out on our listserv. One of the members, an old labor guy, he worked in the postal department, and he was a member of their union, and he's real active, and he's getting dangerous. A guy named Eugene Wilson, and so he sent out this letter. He's reviewed a book by Joseph Huber, as one of the people that speak at our American Monetary Institute, called "Sovereign Money Beyond Reserve Banking," and he's reviewed this so that he can talk about the NEAT Act, and he's going to also review the Lost Science of Money, so he can have some of this stuff in it. This is a damn good letter. He just said, they said they were going to, Amazon said they were going to review, he submitted this review of Joseph Huber's book, and said they were going to review it. And I said, that's just standard procedure, Eugene. They review my stuff all the time, and I write some pretty controversial stuff sometimes in my reviews, but it comes through. And I said, unless the logarithm figures out that you're really dangerous, your review will be published, and because you are dangerous. Okay, anyway, here's the letter. I want to read it so it starts getting out. It's kind of long, okay. So, but I just want to get it done. So there's a video with it on it. It says I realize this is too long. Okay, he starts it, but I can use sections in different contexts. I tried to apply some of our helpful discussion from last night's meeting on an Amazon review, okay, to offer Amazon searchers some of our core ideas and point them to Stephen Zarlinga, the author of The Lost Science of Money, and our newsletter, okay? After submitting this review, I was informed that it may take as long as a week to be vetted. It'll probably be vetted before I get through reading this and appear. It said, it appears you must buy the book. He has all of these, he thinks they're got reasons to not do it. They don't. That's just standard procedure. Anyway, he says, it appears that you must buy the book directly from Amazon, not as a used book, which he bought it as a used book from a third party. Also, my reference to the Banking and Monetary Reform Committee will probably be stripped away. No, it won't. Okay. I feel this is worth trying to educate and influence people, and dedicated enough to search out books on monetary reform. The name of the book where this review will appear is Sovereign Money, Beyond Reserve Banking, 2017, by Joseph Huber, Huber. Joseph is a member of the American Monetary Institute, he's a German economist, and appears, and he'll be at our meeting this fall. Let's see here. It may be worth, let's see, but I feel it's worth trying to do this review, he says, and influence people dedicated enough to search out books on monetary reform. Okay. It may be also worth criticizing books by MMT to show potential leaders that the pitfalls of MMT, that's the modern monetary theory, which is not modern, and it's not a theory, and it's not even monetary. It's a fucking way to keep the bankers in control of our lives. So the guy that created this modern monetary theory is a banker. They're protecting their asses, and because they've got a lot to fucking lose. Because they're going to have to be honest businessmen. Isn't that something? Maybe they're going to have to be honest businessmen. Yeah. So anyway. It says, however, this would appear to require buying the MMT books from Amazon and paying their inflated hardback prices. Eugene's an old labor guy, so he has to criticize them every chance he gets. Says, I plan to rewrite this review for Zarlinga's book, The Lost Science of Money, which I bought from Amazon. Review title, If You Had the Legal Right to Create Money, You Could Also Be a Billionaire on Wall Street. Yeah, and that's what bankers all have got. That's how come there's so many fucking banks around in all these suburban areas. They, at least there are in Oklahoma, because these guys have the right to write themselves checks, write money, and have the right to give anybody money that they that are their buddies. So, yeah, James, lots of self-protection. Just try teaching this in the university and see what happens to your being given long-term protection of your job. You'll find yourself mowing yards or selling cars like I did. And, okay, but I wasn't a professor. Never got there. Although I live in a university town, and the young people around here think I'm an old professor. Well, I am a professor, yeah, of monetary reform. Nothing that'll be taught down at the University of Oklahoma. That's 4 blocks south of me, and that's where I was going to be this afternoon. But the fucking wind is blowing too hard, up 32-mile-an-hour gusts. So, no, he says, no, Virginia, our government does not create money. I think he's talking to a gal named Virginia that's part of our banking and monetary reform groups. I'm not too sure. He might be just talking to any Virginia. Joseph Huber's book opens up the hidden realm of money creation. This great power is given free to Wall Street banks to both create 97% of the dollars as bank money loans, as well as reap the interest on debts created. No other U.S. corporation can create dollars for loans, only banks. When bank loans go unpaid or default, the money system shrinks, as is the present 2020 crash. When we most need financial assistance to keep companies and individuals going into crisis, the system freezes. Also, the money system freezes because banks aren't making loans, and that's the only way that money is created. Eugene says 97%, but that's the way all money is created. I guess there's, oh, I know what the 3% is. That's the coins that you have in your pocket, okay? Okay. When we most need financial assistance to keep companies and individuals going, the system freezes up. In 2008, the Federal Reserve System, the Fed, bailed out Wall Street, but not homeowners or laid off workers. Bloomberg News estimates the Fed distributed or guaranteed 13 to 24 trillion dollars to save the giant banks. In hidden ways, we taxpayers are in hock for some or all of these debts. We're in hock for all of them, used for the bailouts. Congress promised there were safeguards in place that this wouldn't happen again. Well, 12 years later, guess what? We're in a similar mess. Is there any solution to these reoccurring crashes and resulting damage to tens of millions of Americans? The answer is not gold or Bitcoin, like some of my people think, God damn it, or some, not my people, but friends. Huber makes sense when he calls for 100% bank reserve requirements. That means if a bank is going to loan you money, it's got to have the money. Now it doesn't have the money, it creates the money instantly. You go in to get a loan for that new $40,000 car you wanted, and he approves it all and says, okay, now look, he turns around his computer and goes like that, and then tells you, look on your phone and you'll see that $40,000 there, and sure enough, he created that money right then when he did that. And he didn't have it in the bank or anywhere, and they're about to have a 10% reserve requirement. That's a bunch of bullshit too, because now, he's going to go on here in this letter and he tells how that's been removed. Well, it never really was there, because whenever a bank makes a loan, the reserves are created right then. Maybe that particular bank doesn't have the reserves, but it's in the system. And so that night, if he needs the reserves, he can go to the Federal Reserve and get a loan and be covered. Okay? So, okay, he says it's not in the gold or the Bitcoin. Huber makes sense when he calls, okay, for the 100% reserve requirement. This law would require the banks could only make money, make loans from bank savings or checking account deposits, plus bank capital, their money. Okay, and the checking account deposits would have to be in a checking account that says it can be used. It can't just be in your regular checking account. Okay. However, in normal times, large banks make loans 10 times the amount through a process called fractional reserve banking, and that's what I was just talking about. That 10% it wasn't even required in normal times. It says in spring of 2020, the reckless Fed removed all reserve requirements on U.S. banks. Okay, so they removed it. So, well, as I said, it didn't need, yeah, musical chairs, loan guarantees, yeah. Okay, that's right, James. So, okay, let's keep going here. Got to get to page 2 here quick. Page 2 is the last page here. Earlier this year, some of the resulting speculations created stock market euphorias amidst tens of millions of lost jobs, rent and mortgage problems, closed businesses, and pandemic. Yeah, we got everything going down except the stock market. It's going up because they figured out how to do that. Can we move from bank money system for profit to a public system for the common good with no debt and interest at its core? Is this utopian? No, it's just hidden. It's a hidden history. Try to teach this shit at the university and you'll see what happens to your job. You'll be working on the grounds crew outside. You won't be teaching anymore. Okay. No, just U.S. hidden history. In 1862, Lincoln was losing the Civil War and running out of money. Northern bankers were demanding a 30% interest on their loans, okay? And they didn't have enough money. I don't know what he means like that. Okay, he didn't. Lincoln didn't have enough money, and the bankers wanted 30%. So Lincoln told them, "Fuck off." Reluctantly, Lincoln turned to Congressman Eldridge Spaulding, a Buffalo, New York banker, the head of the powerful House and Ways and Means Committee. The solution was federal creation of $450 million of greenbacks. That would be trillions now, okay, which were issued by the U.S. Treasury, not borrowed from banks, created no government debt. That's just very similar to the Need Act dollar. The new U.S. dollar creates no debt. Okay, it's created as equity. If you've had accounting or are an accountant, you know that on the right side of the balance sheet, there's equity and debt. So we're going to switch that balance sheet to being mostly equity, not debt. Okay, bankers lobbied Congress to ensure that greenbacks were never reissued, okay, and were slowly withdrawn by banks from circulation by the early 1900s. Here's where the populists got fucked up. Populists, especially in the rural South and West, and labor unionists called for more greenbacks to relieve the shortage of currency, especially during the planting and harvesting season during the deflationary post-Civil War period. But the populists got tricked. It's just like Bernie Sanders got tricked. Wouldn't even consider our Need Act, but he had the modern monetary theory chief economist on his staff. He got tricked. Did Bernie? You got fucking tricked. You got fucked over. The populists got tricked by silver mine owners and into the panacea of increasing silver use. They got tricked into using silver. Populists unwisely merged into the Democratic Party on a pro-silver, not greenback platform in 1896, the 1896 presidential election, and they were crushed. This ended populism as a movement with momentum. The history has lessons for today. Greenbacks are possible again if a mass movement can learn its history, educate wisely, and overcome the powerful bank lobby to pass laws to authorize modern greenbacks. Pass the fucking Need Act. And we're going to have to do that on our own because the economy is not going to serve the people well, but it's going to serve the bankers well, and it's going to serve like the retired people, their 401ks, because they're going to keep the stock market going up. They know how to do that now. Stock market's not going to crash unless everything fucking crashes, which it might. Okay. Bank money creation in the trillions each year also enables Wall Street banks to decide who gets those giant loans as at the preferred interest rates. Bankers decide everything. Oil and gas frackers, that's here in Oklahoma, wasted $400 billion in bank loans and drilling, depleting high pollution wells and causing the industry to collapse. They're going broke here in Oklahoma. Our tallest building downtown, yeah, it's a fracking building, 40 stories, stars above everything else by far. Okay, $120 billion funding, new methane, this is number 2 he lists here, new methane to single-use plastic facility. Okay, Eugene's an environmentalist. Private prisons. One of our former governors here in Oklahoma was big on private prisons while he was getting legislation passed here and nationally to put people in prison. And no, I was wondering why he was snuggling up to a Democrat on a TV show on public television last night here in Oklahoma. Yeah, it's because they're all the fucking same. Yeah, they're all the same. And the Democrats and Republicans, and except the Republicans now have gone Nazi. And they got pushed into going completely nuts. And okay, job creation overseas. We know about all of the going to China. Yeah. God, I had an iron foundry when that was all going on. They did it to me, but I was the one that went to India and got castings made. And big loans to hedge funds. Yeah, okay, that's number 5. And private equity companies making speculative bets. Okay. Okay. That's a list of his complaints there, but I'm about done. But there is bank money creation for the Green New Deal. Okay. We can, but there's little bank money creation for the Green New Deal. Or high quality, innovative manufacturing, housing for living wage workers, or effective Wi-Fi in rural and neighborhoods. Okay, he's given all of the problems we got, so we got way more than his little list here. Our local farm to home and healthy food is at reasonable cost. No, we don't get that. Our low interest loans for new and small businesses. Okay, I just want to give businesses money, not loan them fucking money and put them in further debt. Okay. If things don't change, and we can do that without taxing anybody or borrowing money from anybody. Okay, that's in the NEAT Act. If things don't change fundamentally, the future of the American dream for the majority is in jeopardy. The official U.S. employment rate on October the 15th is 7.9%. If a person earns any amount of money in a week, they are not considered unemployment. Well, the real interest rate, the real unemployment rate's been running over 20% all along, and now God knows what it is. He says, but if you consider the alternative definition of unemployment, which is what it was until the Democrats and Republicans all got the definitions changed. The truth, 23.6%. I bet you it's 40%. The true black unemployment rate is 30.4%, and I bet you it's more like 80%. The American dream used to be full-time, permanent job at a living wage. I remember when we had the foundry back in the 50s and 60s, and I was paying like $325, $350 an hour. Hell, that's equivalent to $40,000 a year now, because I just think back, the guys all had cars, they all owned homes, they all had nice, good families. I didn't think $325 was very much, but that's equivalent to $40,000 a year now. And if we have a basic income guarantee, universal basic income guarantee, that kept pace with the increase in productivity since the 50s, it would be $40,000 a year. In Geneva, Switzerland, right now, they have passed legislation to make the minimum wage $50,000 a year. Things are happening. Okay, the American dream used to be full-time permanent job employment. Okay, now it's part-time, low-wage, gig contract work. And you got a good job if you're probably not anymore working for the university and digging the flower gardens. There was a lot for Midwest wages. Yeah, that's right. That was a lot for Midwest wages back in Wichita. Yeah, I'm sure. $3.25 an hour. And okay, let's see, I'm just about down to the last sentence here. The Congressional Budget Office projects the U.S. economy will grow only 1.6% annually over the next 30 years, well below the 2.5% rate in the past 30 years. Transforming the bank money creation power, bank-created money, is a necessary step in changing this depressing future. Additional sources is The Lost Science of Money by Steven Zarlinga. It's an 800-page eye-opener. Plus our online Banking and Monetary Reform Committee newsletter. And you can see that if you go to needact.org. That's NEED.org. And so that's he said, Eugene Wilson, the Green Party of Connecticut. He's an old labor guy. And I just told him today, I said, man, you sent a great letter. I wrote him back and said, you need to get on Prism and broadcast. You're an old labor guy. You need to be talking to the old labor guys, the old grandpas that are still around, just like you, about the NEED Act. Okay, and let's see if I can try to do this where you can actually see there's printing on this page. So, because you need to get on and broadcast on Facebook Live, on Twitter Live, on Periscope, on Twitch, and you can do it with a punch of a button, and YouTube Live, and you can do it, and so I'm thinking I didn't punch the right button to get YouTube Live on here. Okay, anyway, talk to and you'll find some of the old labor guys. They're on the computer. These old retired people are on the computer. Yeah, we need people that knows the real information. So, and I said, there's grandchildren out there and great-grandchildren, and they already know that their parents are useless, okay? And if you can talk to Grandpa, maybe he can talk to the grandchildren and start getting them curious about this shit. And it's how Hamilton and Washington delegated the power that was the power in Congress to create money, and see what they say to that. So anyway, that's the end of today's little broadcast. It looks like I've gone 34 minutes, and we got to the end of this, and I didn't get blown away by that 32-mile-an-hour wind outside. So anyway, I'll be back soon. This is William at Occupy the NEED Act, and bye now. If I can find out how to punch the button to end. Oh, there it is, says end. Bye now.